Listen to Downtown Hot Radio on the air 24 hours a day and 7 days a week.
You're now tuned into the Real Rap Radio Show. I'm your host, Walil Archer on Downtown Hot Radio. I have a special guest with me. I have Michael Misfeldt. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Blessed.
That's good. That's good. What city and state are you in?
I'm out in Holton right now. At work. Out in the
Okay.
field.
Okay. So we dealing.
Walmart.
Go ahead.
A Walmart distribution center.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver, so I do loads for various companies with JB Hunt.
Nice. So we're going to talk about your book today, Getting Out of the Pit. So let everybody know, how did you come up with that title?
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Stephen Minister training. So it's talking about come alongside as the eyes and ears of Jesus, and you just being there as like a not really a coach or something, but just like a person that somebody needs like a personal help with, just listen to, and basically you're helping them out of the pit, and then because you don't want to get sucked into the pit, because then you're both you're both in a world of hurt. So that's right. I got the idea for the book.
Okay. And let the listeners know more about your book.
It's about dealing with suicide and depression. It's my personal recovery from out of darkness into the light, and the process I took to get there. I suffered with depression for about 6 years after losing my house, going through a bankruptcy, going through a divorce, and then my dad passed away all within 12 months. And so pretty much I shut down. It hid from everybody except from work and my kids weekends. And I quit going to church. And my mom had already passed away, so I had an aunt and uncle, kind of like my surrogate parents after my mom and dad died, and they was kind of worried about me. And then my brother too. I hid from everybody. I was just it was a pretty dark period. But through my men's group and men's Bible study, and I was able to find my way back.
Nice. Now let's talk about the men's group. How did you select that men's group to join?
Well, we were looking for different churches, and we found this one group is the Foursquare Church, and I was raised Lutheran, so it was Foursquare is a whole different ball game for me, and I really felt at home. And the first day we went to church service there, I just felt the Holy Spirit to just touch my soul, and then I started getting involved with the men's group, and we called ourselves like the Band of Brothers, and we had like 12 guys, and we even had one guy on our group that was he was a former sparring partner for Muhammad Ali. His name was Willie, and he didn't become a Christian until later. And then I kind of used his testimony and his life story to talk to other guys and say, we got this guy in our men's group, used to be sparring partner for Muhammad Ali. He was a boxer himself. So it's kind of way, I use it as a springboard to get people interested in going to church or going to Bible study, or if they need help or whatever.
Now, how challenging was it writing the book, since it's dealing with your life, dealing with suicide and depression?
Well, it all started this summer. I was at men's down at Palomar Mountain in San Diego for a men's camp on a retreat for the weekend, and it was all about getting closer to Jesus. You feel so close you can feel the dust coming off his sandals. And so I planned on going, and my wife really didn't want me to go. She says, didn't think we could afford it. I signed myself up anyways, got a discount with the church, and then went down there for the weekend. And then we had a fireside meeting Friday night. We were talking about getting closer to God, so the pastor had everybody write on a 3x5 card what is keeping you from getting closer to God. And then he had us sit in a small amphitheater, and we went up to the last 3 rows in the back, and he said, "This is how most people are about getting close to God. They want to sit in the bleachers or up on they don't really want to get personally involved." So we had 3 of us come down and sit next to him by the fire, and then asked him. He asked us why we volunteered to come down, and I told him that I just want to get closer to God. And then he had us standing there by the fire, and he had his shirt off, and he was just standing there. And so I walked down there and decided to put my card in the bonfire. I took off my jacket and my shirt and everything. I was standing there, and after about 15 minutes later, Pastor goes, he says, "That's the best thing I've seen all day is Mike standing there with his shirt off." And I said, "Well, that sounds pretty sad to me." I know I was trying to be funny, but anyways, I was standing there for a few minutes, and I asked, if I could say something. And I said, he said, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "It's only by the grace of God that I'm even here after 3 attempted suicides in the last 3 years." And I wasn't planning on talking about it. I felt it was, God wanted me to share that. Everybody thinks, us, I'm sorry, us Christians got together. Well, we're just like everybody else. We've got struggles, and actually, I was glad I shared about the next day. Had like 4 or 5 guys come up to me and said that took a lot of courage to share. And then they started talking about some of their struggles also. And, and so I was trying to go to sleep Friday night. I couldn't go to sleep. I said, "God, just let me go to sleep, and then I'll write something in the morning." And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I decided to get up, go into the bathroom. We were in a bunkhouse, so I didn't want to wake everybody else up. So I was writing for about a couple hours, and I wrote about 6 pages, run down, and then I talked to meanwhile, the guy that was supposed to talk on Sunday morning, he was coming down with somebody else, and he had about halfway down to camp, he had a stroke. So I had to turn around and go back to the hospital. He's fine now, but he couldn't make it on Sunday. So Saturday morning, I asked the pastor, I said, "You got anybody going to talk on Sunday morning?" He said, "No, not really." He said, "Well," I said, "look at this." I said, "That was God talking to me last night." I know it sounds kind of weird, but anyways, I asked him to look at it and see what he thought. And then all day Saturday, I didn't hear from him. So, he had found somebody else, or wasn't my time to give a talk. So on the way to dinner Saturday night, he goes, "Mike, I want you to share your story, what you wrote." And so I said, "I'll just tell the guys that we had somebody that felt God was talking to him, and he just wants to share." So we had about 70 guys there Sunday morning, and he introduced me, and then I came up and gave my talk. It's in the book. It's called "The Child of God," and I just kind of did a quick synopsis of why I think we're put here on this earth and what our mission should be. And then I decided to expand it a little bit. I had given a talk at a men's group about the prodigal son. It's in Luke 15. So I put that in there also, and then kind of shared a little bit of my own story and what I've been struggling and go through. And I don't, and then the publisher helped me put it all together, and it's just taken off from there. So this wasn't anything I really planned on doing. It's the last thing that you know, I'm no writer or nothing like that. And anyways, it's been an enlightening experience.
Now, when it comes to sharing your story, if I could take you back to the first time you shared your story, was you hesitant or pretty nervous about disclosing your story?
Yeah, well, I grew up. I was always a shy, quiet kid in the corner. I was a loner, and I wasn't really outgoing or social or nothing. So this like a whole different turnaround from me. Talking about this or um, being out there, and um, I don't know. I just I felt God wanted me to talk about it. There's there's different people in the Christian community have gone through stuff. Some even committed suicide, and I just figured it's something we need to talk about. People need to get help. It's used to be thought about it that in a negative way if you had any kind of mental health problems. I think especially men, you're not supposed to talk about your feelings. You're just supposed to suck it up. You know, big boys don't cry and all that garbage. But hopefully, this change a few attitudes helps them.
Now, what words of encouragement can you give to someone that's actually suffering from depression and thinking about suicide?
So, if you were growing up and you were told, you don't amount to nothing, you're never going to be anything, you're not loved, look, God loves us, and He loves you just as you are, and He's got a purpose for your life, and seek help. Talk to somebody, find a pastor, find a counselor, call up the hotline. Don't listen to the lies of the enemy. For me, I thought, the first time, I was having some marital problems, so I thought it'd be easier on my wife if I wasn't around. Well, that's a big lie. And then if you do commit suicide, you're taking away the opportunity of your kids or your family to say goodbye, and it's you're hurting more than you think you are.
So true. Now, throughout your book, do you share any resources or any steps that people should start with first as far as healing or getting help?
Yeah, there's a national hotline in there for suicide. They call. They have a couple questions and exercises you can go through. I put some Bible verses in there. Even if you don't go to church or you're not a believer, we all need help on them, and it's just a good. I think that there's some good information in there, and but anything, if I can come through this out on the good end, on a positive and do some good work, I think it hopefully it'll be an inspiration to other people to do the same.
Nice. And as we begin to close out, any final thoughts or closing remarks?
Yeah, we're not. Everybody thinks Christians are self-righteous and judgmental. That's not what Jesus was here to give us life abundantly. The devil wants he's the thief and wants to take it away from us. So just reach out to somebody. Talk to your friends. Talk to pastor. Talk to I see a psychologist every couple of weeks, and he just helps understand. From stuff from childhood, it just I didn't have any trauma or nothing. It's just that I didn't feel loved, didn't feel wanted. I know my parents loved me, but you know, big German, German heritage. It was different back then.
And as we before I let you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
What's that?
I said before you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. Just put in Michael Misfeldt. You can go to the website there for gettingoutofthepit.com. You want to do a review on the book, I appreciate it. That's about it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you, Michael, for doing the interview today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. So that's my time today on the Real Rap Radio Show. And I'll see you guys next time on the Real Rap Radio Show with Walil Archer on Downtown Hot Radio.
All right.
Listen to Downtown Hot Radio on the air 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Tune in by downloading the Downtown Hot Radio's mobile app. Listen on our website, www.downtownhotradio.com.